Hello guys, we are back with our next lecture. In this lecture, let us go through the next topic, that is user and operating system interface, guys. Okay, so basically to interact with operating system, okay, we are going to use user interface, guys. Okay, and we will also discuss about a kernel, microkernel, these concepts in this lecture, guys. So please concentrate, these are really interesting and important, guys. Okay, so basically once you turn on your computer, okay, or your laptop, on your desktop we will be seeing multiple icons, right? Yes, and we can click them and they will open and you can use the applications. So that is nothing but the user interface, guys. So the exact things with which a user directly interacts is nothing but the user interface. Okay, and when it comes to kernel, so kernel is a really important part of your operating system, guys. To be clear, it is a part of an operating system, and to be clear, it is the back end of the operating system, guys. Okay, so what exactly is there in kernel? Okay, so kernel is nothing but a collection of programs, guys. So assume that you want to add two numbers and you created this kernel to do operations. So this kernel can do addition, subtraction, multiplication, division. So and whenever you give data and inform that kernel to do addition, it is going to do addition. So now you got the idea of kernel, right? So it is nothing but a software or a piece of code which contains multiple programs inside. So this kernel will have P1, P2, P3, P4, like that. It is going to have multiple programs which you can run directly. Got it? Yes. Okay. So there are many ways for a user to interact, and among them two are the most common, like touching and all those things will be there, right? Yes. Yeah. So command line and computer and graphical user interface. So command line is nothing but, so if you recall, you can open directories and you can create files, you can open files using CMD, right? So when you are in your computer, in your college labs, in operating system, always they used to install this Linux like Ubuntu or something, and they will always make us to use command line. That is the reason, because that is also a user interface, right? Yes. Whereas the Windows which we use in our homes, like Mac or Windows, so both of them are really good with respect to graphical user interface. Got it? Yes. And nowadays our smartphones, we are using touch. Like if I click here, it will go there. Even laptops also nowadays they are coming in touch, right? Yes. Okay. So now moving on, this is the structure of operating system, guys. Okay, so I'm sure that most of the students will not be clear with this particular structure along with me. Even I am also not having that much clarity with respect to this. So they say that operating system can be structured in two ways. So the first type is a simple structure and the second type is a layered structure, guys. Okay, like layer by layer. Okay, yes. And this is the structure of simple structure and this is the structure of layer structure. And this topic is not that much important according to me, guys. So that is the reason why I'm not having that much clarity on this topic also. Okay, if you want to remember, you can remember the structures, that's it. Okay, yes, this is mostly important for theoretical exams, right? Yes. Okay, so now let us move to microkernel. So now all the students got a clear idea about a kernel, right? So kernel is having multiple programs inside it, in simple words, right? Yes. So now moving on to microkernel. Okay, so microkernel is from the name what you can say, guys, it is a part of a kernel or it is a mini version of the kernel, right? Yes. So in reality, what exactly kernel contains, guys? So for our example, I told addition, subtraction, multiplication, division, right? Yes. So in reality, kernel might contain some kind of applications, like assume that you want to shut down your system, so a small code shutdown could be there in your kernel, so which is once you enter that code, it is going to shut down it. So in that way, so based on these kind of some activities which need to be run ultra fast, so those kind of small functionalities will be stored in this kernel, guys. Okay, yes. So now what about microkernel? So microkernel is going to contain the most important. Okay, so this method structures the operating system by removing all non-essential components from kernel. So assume that in kernel we are having some programs like a P1 to P100. So among these 100, there will be around 20 or 10 maximum important, right? Yes. So those kind of things will be stored in our microkernel. Got it? Yes. and implemented them as a system and user level programs. Guys, I'll be discussing about system and user level programs, so don't worry. Okay, yes, resulting in a smaller kernel. So basically we are removing unwanted operations, guys. So once we remove these unwanted operations, we will end up with only most important. So those most important, now this kernel is a small, right? So that is the reason why they are calling it as a micro kernel. Okay, so among all components in kernel are, okay, only most commonly used are present in the microkernel. Okay, so as the kernel size has been decreased, okay, so it is directly proportional to the number of components. So inside kernel also there will be really less. Okay, yes, so if you take a small example, so assume that your system is having total 6 different components in kernel. So it is inter-process communication, memory management, CPU scheduling, device drivers, file system and application program. So after some analysis, you decided that these 3 are the most important and these 3 are less important. So what you will do in microkernel, you are going to push these 3 guys outside of kernel. So these 3 will be inside microkernel and these 3 guys will be outside microkernel. Got it? Yes. So with the hardware, these guys will send messages, these guys will communicate and everything will be done. But these guys are most important, these guys are less important. That's it. Got it? Yes. So this is the concept of a microkernel, guys. Okay, so now most of the students will be like, okay, so we understood the concept of microkernel, kernel and all those things, but in reality, how is this microkernel will be used or kernel will be used? So I took a small example here, guys. Okay, so just give me a second. Okay, so let us continue, guys. Okay, so before trying to understand how user will interact with kernel, so let us discuss about a small topic. Those are called as a system calls, guys. So assume that you want to do a particular task, like creating a file, like creating a folder, like creating a document, like deleting a particular file. So basically these operations are really common, right? So whenever we create a file, we used to create we create these files really frequently, right? Yes, so that is the reason why these kind of small operations, they are stored and they are called as a system calls, guys. Okay, so basically system call is nothing but a block of code which is given a particular name. So basically this system call, so basically create. So I'm giving an example, guys. I don't know whether it is exactly written in this way. So create. So this is a system call. So once you write this in your code, so this system call will inform kernel, and inside kernel there will be a block of code for this create. So basically this create will do some things, right? So it will go to the hard disk, it is going to create a file, it is going to store some zeros and ones in it, and it will return the data and it will say that it is created. So these some kind of code will be there, right, to execute that particular thing. So this is nothing but a system call, guys. So system call provides the meaning for a user program to ask the operating system to perform a task for the operating system on user program behalf. So basically user is going to call a system call, and this system call will be taken care by the kernel. So inside kernel this system call code will be there. So now this kernel will take care, like I will be take caring of the thing, and he will execute it with the help of hardware, and he will just give the result that it's done. Now this is the result. So in that way, so that concept is a system call, guys. Got it? Yes. So there are various types of system calls, guys. I have listed them down. Okay, so if you want to check, you can check them. So anyway, I'll be reading them once. So types of system calls. So system calls are variously divided into 6 different types. So the first type is a program control, guys. So the program can be end, abort, load, execute, create process, terminate process, get process attributes, set process attributes, wait for a particular time, wait event, signal event, allocate, free memory. So in this way, for each and every every category, there are various types, guys. So similarly in file management, we are having create file, delete file, open, close, read, write, reposition, get a file attributes, set a file attributes. So in that way. Similarly device management. So in devices also, request a device, release a device, read, write, reposition, get a device attributes, set a device attributes, logically attach or detach the device. So in this way, so basically each of these things are a piece of code, guys. So and this is the system call which you can call, and that particular code will be executed on behalf of you by the kernel. Got it? Yes. So in the same way we are having for information maintenance, communication and protection. You can check them, guys, if you want the names, but those are not that much important that you should remember them and all those things. Okay, yes. So now you got an idea about system call, right? Yes. So now let us move back to the order or the mode bit, guys. Okay, yes. So basically our system, whenever we write any kind of code or whenever we want to execute any kind of statement, so user will start executing it, guys. So once the user starts execution, so suddenly in between of your code you might call a system call, right? So here how many system calls are there, guys? So there will be many system calls. I have wrote only few, right? Yes, so there will be many system calls. So once the program is executing, it will be required to call some system calls. So what system will do? System will give that chance to the kernel. So it will pass the data to the kernel and it will say that, hey kernel, please execute these steps. So it will execute those steps and that system call will return the result. So in this way it will go. But the only thing here is, so if it is traveling in between these two multiple times, then something should be there to say like now where it is, right? Yes, so that is a nothing but a mode bit, guys. Okay, so if a mode bit is a 0, it indicates that now the processor is working with the kernel or the result is coming from kernel. And if the mode bit is a 1, it is a nothing but the user is executing the thing or user is working on the thing. So that is the reason why mode bit 0 is called as a kernel mode and mode bit 1 is called as a user mode. Got it? Yes, it's a quite interesting and easy thing, right? Yes. So now let us go to the theoretical part. Okay, so mode bit. So in order to ensure the proper execution of an operating system, we must be able to distinguish between the execution of a OS code and the user defined code. Okay, similarly OS code is nothing but kernel code, right? So which is already predefined or which is already existing in the kernel. Okay, so a bit called mode bit is used to indicated by 0 or 1. Okay, kernel means 0 and user means 1. When the computer system is executing on behalf of a user application, the system is in user mode. However, when the user application requests for a service from the operating system, so the service might be in file management, he want to create a file. So in that way, so any kind of request it might be. So it is a system call and then that chance will be given to the kernel and the system must transist from user mode to kernel mode. So in that way it will move from user mode to kernel mode and now the kernel will take care of it. And once the kernel has completed its work, it will return the result and along with returning the result, it will again change the mode bit to 1, which indicates that it is user mode. Got it? Yes. So now you got an idea about a kernel, microkernel, how user will work, what about a mode bit, what is a system call, right? Yes. So these are all basics, guys, to be clear, right? Yes. So now I hope everyone got a clear idea about all these topics. So in the next lecture, we'll be discussing about a process, guys. So we'll be starting the discussion about process management in the next lecture, guys. Okay? Yes. So let us meet in the next lecture and start the discussion about process. Thank you. Thanks for watching. Like, share and subscribe for more awesome videos like this. Thank you.